Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today's drive-by. I'm actually on the I-10 westbound, Highway 8 westbound, heading towards Alabama. And I've got about 306 miles to go where I'm going. And then I'll be going back. I'm about 700 miles total. But anyway, and I'm going to drive it straight. It's no big deal, about 22 hours there and back. But I wanted to bring up a subject here. This is...
After 2 miles, keep left, Interstate 10 westbound,
Yep.
Highway 8 westbound.
This is going to be about the perfect combat gun. When I say a perfect combat gun, I mean a perfect combat gun, meaning one that you set up for it or when you buy that way. So let's mainly talk the simplest way when you're actually going to build one. When you decide to build one, you're going to pick a gun. Most people pick the guns they already have. Like somebody has a Glock, they'll pick that. Or if they have an M&P, they might pick that. Or, they might already have it. But the most popular one is the Glock. Most people take the Glock, they'll change the barrel out, they change the recoil rod out, recoil spring. They might put some extended releases on it for the slide, maybe extended magazine release, some weighted magazine base plates. See, they might change the sights to maybe suppressor sights.
After 1/2 mile, keep left,
or they may
Interstate 10
go ahead
westbound,
and
Highway 8 westbound.
add RMR sights or something like that on there.
Keep left.
And to get it to a combat gun. But most people don't realize, like, certain guns like a Glock are already pretty much combat guns. I mean, they're already like that because they were built with that in mind.
Follow Interstate 10 westbound, Highway 8 westbound for 69 miles.
So you have minimal amount of work that you really need to do on them. Okay. Of course, then my GPS is telling me at 68 miles, 69 miles, I got to take US 231 northbound, Highway 231. And it's going through Georgia. I don't know where the Georgia line is, but it's pretty much not further after that 60, 70 mile mark. But anyway, the very common thing. So I never really was a Glock person. I never really was. I really was a revolver guy. So I love revolvers. I just like the way they look. I like the way they feel. I just always liked Smith & Wesson revolvers. I really never liked any of the other ones except the Smiths. Because the Smith quality, I grew up on them when I was 18, 19. I had Smiths all the way up to, now, 60 years old. Still have Smiths. So I've always liked the Smith & Wesson guns. I never really was a big automatic person. But about 2 years ago, I bought my first Glock. And my first Glock I bought was a Model 26, the 9mm. And I liked it. It was a nice little carry gun. It was light. It was just, when I put it in my hand, it just felt good. And that's the nice thing about a Glock. When you put them in your hands, a Glock feels good in your hand. It may be an ugly gun, but it just feels good when you have it in your hand. And that's, a lot to say for the gun. You want something that feels good when you're using it. So I had that, and I said, well, I'd like to pick up another one. I picked up a Glock 17, and I picked up a 17C, I picked up a 19, a 19C. I picked up a Glock 21, a Glock 20, Glock 20C, 21C. Mainly I like the 9s, 45, and the 10mm. I picked up a 22, a 23C. Had a bunch of them, sold just about all of them. Then I bought another, I sold them all. and then I bought another 21, and actually bought a 21 SF, and I really wanted a 21C that I had sold, but they didn't make a 21 SF in a compensated model. So I was looking on YouTube, and there was one guy out there that had compensated his gun, and he told me about Rock Your Glock. So I went ahead and he did just the regular 2 ports. But I found out Rock Your Glock did a 4 port. So I said, hey, what the hell? I might as well get the quadruporting done. And at the same time, I said, well, you know, I might as well clean up the gun and get some titanium plating done on it and stuff. So that's how, you know, I ended up customizing my Glock. I read a lot of reports, read on what people have done to them, you know, how to not to modify them to make them, like, you know, not work. And then, so I decided on my Glock to titanium plate, you know, after the gun came back, I have a titanium plate to slide. I put some metal sights on there. I picked some pro sights. I like those because those are easy to coat to get them plated, and without affecting the way the sight operates. So I went ahead and did some work on those, and you know, I got extended slide release, extended, you know, got that all coated titanium, changed it to a New York 1 trigger with a 3.5 pound connector, original Glock connector. I didn't really want to get a Ghost or any aftermarket stuff. Put a stainless steel guide rod in there, and got that titanium plated. Pretty much everything, a different spring, a little lighter spring. Pretty much just every single internal part that was metal, you got it titanium plated. Put the gun back together, ran good, you know, it fired good, it operated fine. But I always wanted an RMR on it, so search for a company that would do an RMR on it was extensive. I'm telling you guys, no lie, I was looking for a year to find people that could put an RMR on it and that could do it in timely fashion and take care of it. I ran into so many obstacles, it's crazy. That's why, you know, I get this information to you. I had companies that wanted me to wait 12 weeks. I had companies that wanted me to wait a year. And I says, no, I had to send my slide out and pay. And they weren't cheap, pay good money to wait a year. So I knew there might have been somebody out there that could do my work. And what I really wanted to do to my slide, okay, it was already ported. What I wanted to do is have a cutout for an RMR red dot and keep my existing sights. I bought suppressor sights. So I wanted to keep them. And I want to have them co-witness. And that's terminology when you can use both sights at the same time. So for co-witnessing, you have to have like suppressor sights, like on the F&P 45 or F&X Tactical 45. You know, the sights are high enough to clear anything you put in there. I also wanted to have it, if I didn't want to have an RMR in there right away, is to have a plate there. On my Glock, yes, a cover plate that would cover it. And that would be, you know, coated titanium too. So I wanted to have that covered. I also wanted to remove all the logos on the slide. And I wanted to also smooth out the corners. You know how the Glock slides are so boxy? Well, I wanted to smooth it out so it was a little smoother, look a little bit more ergonomic, you know, look a little bit better. I also wanted to take off the rear cocking serrations. Also wanted to put some side windows on each side of the slide that would show, so my barrel would show with depressions around the side. So what basically they do is on the side of your slide, they take out some metal so it's a depression, like a dip, and then they put your windows in that dip on each side. So it gives it a little contrast, it looks nice. And I wanted to, on top, have a little window, like in between my my quadruported, quadruports, mainly so the barrel could look, see through the barrel a little. So I looked, and 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 man, I got really pissed. I almost came to the point where I was going to buy a lathe and do it myself. But I came across a company about 3 weeks ago, and I emailed the guy, and I was very impressed because I emailed him the first day. I got an email back the first day. And he said, sure, we can do all this. We could all do all the work for you. We could do everything in there. And if you send us the gun, we can have it done in 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and have it back to you. So at this point, I says, hell, I had R&R, I had the R&R already. I had the suppressor sights. He's not going to leave the suppressor sights on. That's just for measuring, because I'm going to get it after it comes back. I'm going to send it out and get it titanium coated. Where I originally had the work done, they're going to recoat it. So I said to myself, what the hell? I might as well have this guy. Might as well have him do it, right? So I said, hell yes. So I made out a money order, took my slide apart, got my R&R, my suppressor sights, I put them in a box, and I sent them out about 3 days ago. Now probably he's got them today, I know where it's going. There's a lot of snow, so there's some storms, so that might affect it, if he's got him now or what, I don't know, but I'll know. So pretty soon I'll be getting, the stuff back. And what I'm going to do is when I get it back, I'll do a raw review. And that's going to be a review of how it looks when it's, not plated. And they're not coated. And that's fine. Because my slide's already done, so. And we'll go through the quality, how it looks and everything. And the work he did and everything on it. Then I'm going to send it out, get it done. So I figure I have another month and a half by the time that slide gets back to me. Because he's going to have it for a few weeks. And I got to send it out to California. The people that do my work, Coating Services Group, John Salazar. The salesman is Jeff Grant. It's Bethany. She's the administrative assistant, called office person. But they got a team of good people. Really, they do good quality. So that's why I'm sending it back. And then we'll see what it looks like. But that's why the Glock, it's kind of like a everybody does a lot of modifications. But out of the box, a Glock, you take it and you shoot it. When the Glock was built, basically that's what it was built and made for. To be a combat in the dirt, crappy, not crappy meaning, but you can get it dirty and stuff like that and fire it, and they do. That's why when I did the modifications on my Glock, I tried not to do too much that would take away from the way Glock designed it. Granted, I have a slide and I have an R&R and all that, but mechanically, I really have not changed the internals of the gun. My Glock, every single part internally is a Glock part, with the exception of the extended slide release and the extended takedown, a slide takedown bolt, or little lever. And then I have a cider lock in it too, which is a safety. But pretty much everything else on the gun itself, I have, all my internal stuff, all my, my connectors, my trigger bar, triggers, all that stuff there, all that is stock equipment. I did get an OEM 3.5 pound connector, and then I got a New trigger spring, New York 1 trigger spring, and that's in there. So that's all, you know. And then once we get it out, it slide all together. I'd be real excited to see how it's going to work at the range. We'll definitely do a review on that once we get it back. Let's see how this project turns out. The only other gun that I would not mind getting is an M&P core 9mm. If I could dig up an M&P core 9mm, because it already has a cutout for the RMR sight, and I think it's the shooter on YouTube, Jerry Michalak or whatever. He has a M&P core that's magna ported. It's got a quad port on it, and he loves it. I wouldn't mind doing that, and then picking up an extra barrel. You have a threaded barrel for it, and then you'd have a regular barrel, and then you can have your regular barrel be ported, and then you don't have to put this, you know, not silly, but I call them silly things on the end of your barrel. Because for what you're going to spend, you buy a whole, you can buy a ported barrel, or you can just port the gun. Because it's probably under $200 to get that slide ported. And they do it electrostatically. They just blast holes in them, clean cuts into the barrel and into the slide. But that would be nice. You know, have the M&P core 9mm, and then have the RMR on that, and have the ports on there. And I think that would be great, because then I would have 3 guns. I would have my F&P 45, my F&P 45 tactical, but that doesn't have ports on it. But you could port that too. And it probably would make that even better than what it is. I would have my Glock 21 SF with the RMR ported, and then I would have the M&P core 9mm with the RMR ported. Those 3 guns would be pretty cool. And I could take, you know, the M&P and get the slide finished. I don't know if I'd want to do that. I don't know how it would look on that gun, so I guess I could. But I probably wouldn't. So. But yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up. You know, combat guns. Well, really the only one I can think of now is the Glock. That's what it's built for. You know, and I mean, F&P and stuff like that, you know, those are cool too. But down in the dirt, combat guns, the Glocks were definitely designed for that. But you can do a lot of modifications, you can spend a lot of money. Milling work is not cheap. I'll give you some average prices. And these are not prices that I spent on mine, but some are. Normally, to mill an RMR, they'll charge you about between $125 and $225, and that means that is to make a cut onto your slide, tap 2 holes, so clean it up, buff it out. They're not going to plate it or anything like that, and that you mount your RMR on there. Now, if you want a cover for that, they'll usually knock you about $150. So you're going to be looking at about $375 for the RMR cutout with a cover. If you want to get like side windows on a gun, they usually hit you anywhere from $125 to $200 a side. If you want to get like remove serrations, they can probably about $200. They can do that total for the back. If you want to remove logos, that's probably about $200. If you round out corners on them, it's probably about $125 to do that. To round the corners out, take off the sharp edges. Those kind of roughly some prices that people charge. So, I mean, to get like I was talking how much work I'm getting on mine. To get all that work, it probably cost you about $1,400 to get that work. That's not what I'm paying, but that's probably what it will cost you. And depending on who you went to, it might take you 12 months to get the gun back. So, but I just wanted to go through, and that's just I'm rambling and getting bored. I get another tons of hours. Pensacola is 168 miles from where I am right now. But I'm not going to Pensacola. I'll be turning in 49 miles to US Highway 231 going towards, that'll head me towards Alabama. But thanks a lot, guys, and have a great day. We're just passing exit 166 on the 10 westbound, 8 westbound. Thanks a lot.